There are ways round this.
In the land of current affairs, the ongoing rolling news battle between BBC News 24 and Sky News came to a head this week because a video surfaced on YouTube, put there by survivors of a recent disaster. I say recent disaster, I mean Lincolnshire earthquake of a couple of weeks ago. On the morning of the Lincolnshire earthquake, Sky News, as you'd expect, was immediately airing reports from the epicentre, or town. They'd got an earthquake eyewitness, and word was out that she was a hot scoop. That brave woman, just one of millions of survivors and completely unhurt people across Britain, looked directly down the barrel of the news, and I kid you not, with a completely straight face, she said this.
Yes, I felt the earthquake. It startled my cockatoo.
The reporter, and I have to hand it to him, the reporter, with all the tenacity of a terrier with a news bone that he just won't let go of, he asked this pertinent question.
Just how startled was your cockatoo?
And the woman replied,
Quite startled.
Woodward and Bernstein must be crapping themselves. But at least Sky News had the story. Back to the video on YouTube. 3 students in Lincolnshire, OK, on the morning of the earthquake, put the TV news on to find out what they could, and then filmed what was on the TV on their mobile phone cameras. They had Sky on with its in-depth coverage, and then they flicked over to BBC News 24. And what they found, let me tell you, was quite interesting. They were showing a trailer for a documentary about Kenneth Clarke and an advert for Radio 4. It's very funny, have a look at it on YouTube. But the best thing, though, is that people can leave comments. And this video had brilliantly brought some real anti-BBC nutmongers out of the woodwork. The first one, angry because the BBC chose that morning to, how trivial, report the killings in Gaza. And he goes like this. This is how it goes. Typical of the BBC, showing news about the plight of Muslims in the Middle East over news of British people who've endured a British earthquake. These are British people who will still have to wake up tomorrow and go on paying for the British Broadcasting Corporation and its bloated services. Close the BBC! There's another one here. The BBC are left-wing in the sense that they are a public element and a left-oriented democracy. But just think how much worse it would be if the BBC was a heavy right-wing channel. We'd get live rapes and that. Unlikely, you weirdo! Can't really see Graham Norton fronting that one on a Saturday night. On ice, or otherwise. And finally, I think what has to be my favourite, it just says this. Don't watch the BBC. It's useless, brainwashing, amateurish, garishly overblown, substandard, inexpert and pompous. I only read The Sun.
2008